Yo guys, it's Dennis Peterson back again with another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about compressors and limiters and how I use them. I want to jump straight into this and I'm gonna turn off my cam now so we can focus on the screen. I want to start out showing you like how a compressor works. I've drawn together a little bit of something here to make me help you explain how compressors work. I realize that this is a really shitty way of explaining it and I suck at Photoshop, but you gotta just get over that. Upwards we have the amplitude. To the right we have the time. So basically the same way that you see a waveform. And I'll go over a few of the terms. One of them is threshold. Threshold is the black line that you see over the pick line. Threshold means that everything above the threshold is gonna be manipulated with. Makeup gain is raising the overall signal so that the lowest point of the waveform and the highest points of the waveform is not so far apart. Attack means how long it will take for the compressor to react to the signal. So that means that you can actually get peaks before you can, like, the compressor kicks in. Release is for how long the compressor takes to stabilize the signal again. And last but not least, this is the most important part of the compressor. It's the ratio knob. This is what tells us how much to lower the signal, at what rate. This was a very swift introduction to like the compressor and the knobs on the compressor. Now I want to go into Ableton Live and see how I can show you, like how I can show you guys how the compressor works. I want to start out with going through the Ableton Live compressor. And once you get to know the Ableton Live compressor, you can basically convert that over to any other compressor out there. Well, not maybe everyone, but a lot of them. Because there's like a couple of things in here which I'll talk about that are different by compressors. I decided to zoom in a little bit because I realized that when I'm going 1440p, everything is a little bit small. Anyway, I want to start here. So I made a compressor on the Dave Parkinson, some sample of Dave Parkinson. It sounds like this. So it's a very basic, very basic. So let's just try to play around with some knobs and I'll tell you what it does. So here we have the ratio. We can start by trying to pull that up to infinity to 1. That will actually mean that whatever above the threshold, it's gotta lower to the threshold. So that's basically limiting. But as you can see, it's not even going up to the threshold here. So let's try and play with the threshold. So we're gonna pull down the threshold to minus 10 dB-ish. Now it starts to work a little bit. Let's pull it down even more. To minus 20 maybe? Now you can see it's starting to get like work. And you can hear that it turned up the volume very much. So as you can hear, there's a lot of clicks. So let's try to play around with the attack here. Pull it down to 0.01 milliseconds. Now all the clicks are gone. The release, you remember what I told you guys about the release? The release is when, like how long it takes for the signal to stabilize itself again. So when we're using the infinity to 1 radio, that means that it's always gonna compress. So let's just try pulling it down to 1 millisecond to sound and hear how it sounds. You hear the difference? Now it compresses all the sound all the time. So is this useful? Maybe not for this thing. This was just to show you how like the compressor works. So one of the things that I use it for is this. I have a loop here, which I already showed you. It sounds like this. Very basic. And I can turn on my compressor and I pull the ratio knob all the way up, attack down, release down, and I turn off my makeup gain. And I turn down my threshold about 20 dB here. That all depends on how loud the loop is, by the way. So as you can hear right now, the level is lowered a little bit, but like the overall level is louder. The average level is louder. you see, there's not many peaks and everything. This is one way to use the compressor. Can also go a completely different route. I initialized this synth here. This is very important, okay? So I'm just gonna make a simple saw here. Okay, and some pitch bending here. And we're gonna turn up here. And now I'm basically getting a tutorial for a free synth here as well. Oh shit, there we go. So this is a basic synth here. Very basic synth, yeah? And I'll close it down. And we're just gonna make a simple... Oh. And here we go, just something really simple like this. And we're gonna put on a compressor right in here. So you can see what it, like I told you guys about the threshold. If the threshold is below, I mean above the average dB of the signal, it's not doing anything. So right now, because the threshold is up, it doesn't do anything to the track. So this is one other way that I use it. Sometimes I use a compressor here first to make like it really plucky. Then I make a reverb. This is gonna be a really terrible reverb. Just then sometimes I use another compressor after the reverb. You see how like the overall level rises when I put on my compressor and pull down the threshold here. This is too much. This doesn't have an effect because of the ratio. So then you may ask, can I use a compressor on my master channel to master my tracks? And yes, you can. Let me show you an example of how that could be done. So I pulled in the track that you hear in the background of my videos. It's called More Than Ever and it's free download. That's really loud. I'm sorry about that. However, we're just gonna throw on a compressor here. So first of all, this track is already mastered, so there's not really much you can do about it. But I can pull out some of these things here so you can hear what it does. So I'm just gonna reset this so I can see how loud it is, okay? Reset to default. But as you can hear, there's like some like unnecessary sidechain in here. That's because it's already mastered, guys. I managed to come around a track that I did quite a while ago, which was released on Diverted Recordings, Diverted Music, sorry. Anyway, it's called Batitude, and I actually had a unmastered laying around, and let's try it without the compressor that I just did. I just did it before recording this, so bear with me. So this is how loud it is normally. And after the compressor, it's a little bit louder. It's a little bit louder. It's not much, but how I did this, as you can see here, everything that goes above this line, it's compressing. So everything below it becomes a little bit louder. Because I have the output set to 2 dB louder. Maybe I could even push that forward. And what this compressor does is it takes 49 milliseconds to activate the compressor, which means that the kick, you can hear here, it's letting the click of the kick come through really hard. This was actually supposed to be a compressor and limiters video today, but I decided after editing this, it's already 10 minutes long. I decided to make another video on limiters at another time. Maybe it's for Thursday, I don't know. Let's see about that. Thank you guys for watching this. Remember to subscribe and comment below if you have anything you want me to do. Until next time, guys.